This is William K. Murtaugh, Mert Witness 1, and today we are going to discuss the creation of a task force. This is June 11, 2020. Now, recently, a rather interesting letter was posted on the internet. Apparently, Tim Holseth appeared on a YouTube channel. The woman that operates the YouTube channel was heavily criticized, and as a result, a woman by the name of Randy Q. Erickson left a letter for the woman. She posted it again on her YouTube channel at a later time. Now, let's begin with the letter. Now, the letter begins with this. You do not know me. I am one of the original task force members of the Pentagon Pedophile Task Force, aka PPTF. A member that Timothy speaks of. I am the one identified and testified on Timmy's behalf. And as the introduction goes along here, she gets into the background about her bias towards Kim Picasio from Broward County. Never met the woman, of course, but she bases her opinion on Kim Picasio solely on the rantings of Tim Holseth. Now, she continues on here as she introduces how Tim and her got together. I am the one who called Timothy Holseth in late 2018, and she goes on in this declaring that she paid $4,800 towards his car that had broken down and instructed him to get back on the front line to investigate children. He was in awe. A few weeks later, we spoke again, and he told me his real problems with the courts. Now, it would appear that there was an opportunity raised here that this woman took advantage of. And as we move forward with this little story, we start to see the unfolding of events that have traced themselves back to today. Now, she took the position that Tim Holseth's rights were violated and that she was going to intervene. Now, her experience is basically as a deputy recorder, a truth and taxation chairman, or judge, and she's also a real estate broker. Now, this woman has no formal training in the legal field. She has never passed a bar exam. She's not a member of any bar association. She has no thorough understanding of how the law works. Yet this woman goes around saying that everything in the system is wrong and she knows it all and she knows how to get Timothy out of a situation. She has yet to succeed. However, as we go on here, we also see this. Timothy basically told her story, and since Timothy agrees with this woman politically, he agrees with the CPS, and so on and so forth, she brought into this. Now, there may have been a rather quirky relationship development. But one thing that did happen, she paid for someone to come to the court along with Kirk Pendergrass. Now, this is likely the man from out west who declares himself the postmaster of the world and has the copyright of the fringe United States flag, otherwise known as the Title V flag. And this is also where her and Kirk Pendergrass started to get involved. Now, all Kirk Pendergrass and Chris Hallett have in common is they have this little E-clause thing. Chris Hallett has a real estate license, period. He is also, as a part of his real estate business, has a I'm at a loss for the term here, but basically someone that puts his witness statement down on documents. And this declares him to be an officer of the court, which is quite false. Neither of these individuals is an officer of the court in this matter. Ain't happening, but she declares it anyway. Notary public is the term I was looking for. Now, she went on to explain that Chris and Kirk began to do a process and turned to the courts, which means they filed a bunch of paperwork with the clerks of the courts all over the United States, primarily in East Grand Forks, Minnesota, and also down in Broward County, Florida. Now, these things were meaningless. Nothing ever became of it. And it is also here where they get into the notary public license, and that they, because they have this notary public license, they can be an officer of the court, and that is not true. There's nothing I have found that says a notary public can be an officer of the court, and I happen to have been a notary public when I owned my automobile business. It was part of doing business, and I had to have a power of attorney of some sort. Now, there is a declaration here of a violation by the Florida court, and to this day, nobody has ever been able to prove that there was any kind of violation. None whatsoever. Rather than go to court and fight this court order, Tim Holmseth fled after he was to appear in court for the second time. Now, if Tim Holmseth was correct and the court order was invalid, he should have stayed in Minnesota and fought the charges. He chose not to, chickened out instead, and went on the run. Now, the story gets more interesting as we go along. My narration's not good because I'm trying to follow the post that I put up here. Now, she said that she began to express concerns about these alleged violations, even though she knew nothing about how the court works in the United States when it comes to these court orders. Now, this is where they get into formulating the task force. Quote, we decided to create a task force to investigate the courts on further. Chris Hallett agreed, and several others I will not name. The members grew and the investigations grew. The information was amazing, so unlike real estate and real estate law, contract law, which is the only thing she knows anything about, if she knows that even well enough. Now, she goes back and forth. She complains about Tom Morrissey and Chad Cater. She gets into the photographs that were allegedly of Tim Holmseth's son. There have been two versions of the story. Tim Holmseth has this version, and now one came up in this letter that Randy wrote to the commentator, basically stating that a doctor needed to see photographs of Tim's son in shorts in order to examine marks on his legs. Tim Holmseth never mentioned this ever, and he only went with the excuse that the kids were playing dress up, and that's all there was to it. And it's something kids do all the time. Well, I never dressed up as a girl, so I don't know. Again, we're getting into um, ancillary matters here. She talks about meeting the family, including his son and daughter, and saying how nice the kids are, and so forth. And now we get into the thing where Kim is alleged to pay media freaks, which would include me, Alex Goddard, and a multitude of other people. And this is a false accusation. I have never been paid a dime. I'm a victim of Tim Holmseth. I've been a victim of Tim Holmseth for 10 years. And this is the only reason I got involved with this. Tim would not leave me alone, and I had to get involved in order to protect my reputation. I actually defended Tim Holmseth at one time, but he fails to mention that. Now, this is where things come out. Tim Holmseth has declared for years that the Pentagon Pedophile Task Force was created by the Pentagon through an order by the President of the United States. Well, according to Randy L. Erickson, this is not the case. She admits that she and the others created the Pentagon Pedophile Task Force. The Pentagon Pedophile Task Force is privately funded. It is a joint task force, according to her, with special operation forces, giving information to the Department of Defense. Now, the Pentagon and just about every other government agency has declared that the Pentagon Pedophile Task Force does not exist. It is created by this group for what is alleged to be fundraising operations. Tim Holmseth constantly gets on the internet and states that he is one man removed from the President of the United States, and he is the official media spokesperson for the Pentagon Pedophile Task Force, and that it is part of the United States government. He's implied this hundreds of times on his various blogs. Unfortunately for him, Randy L. Erickson just debunked that and admitted that the Pentagon Pedophile Task Force was created by her and Kirk Pendergrass and Chris Hallett. It is not and has never been and never will be an agency of the United States government. It does not represent the government. Now we get back to the pictures yet again. Now, like I said, there's several different versions of this. They claim that the pictures were stolen and that the daughter took pictures of the child dressed up as a girl. Well, there's an interesting problem with this. There's a picture out there that shows the photographer, Tim, and the son, and another woman in the kitchen in the background. That means that there are a total of 4 people there. Tim, the son, his daughter, and another woman. The other woman has never been identified. Or, the other person, I should say, has never been identified. There's only one woman that shows up in the photograph, and that's someone that is kind of off in the door frame of the room in the background. The photographer has never been identified. Now, once again, Randy Erickson makes the claim that we are all paid agents. Well, I have never received a dime, so if I'm being paid by someone, I would certainly like my money. But there is no money because we're not getting paid. The only reason that I bother with this nonsense is because Tim Holmseth lies about me on a daily basis. He uses illegally recorded telephone calls that in themselves are illegal because it's a form of cyber stalking and cyber abuse, and he does not acknowledge that, yet he complains that the same thing is being done to him, which I highly doubt. I think his problems are highly fake. So, this is where we are. These are the screenshots of the letter And it is up to you folks to judge for yourselves if any of this is true or not. I leave it to you, my audience, and anyone that comes in to view this to decide for yourselves. If you want to believe Randy Erickson and Tim Holmseth are part of a federal task force sanctioned by the President of the United States, the Pentagon, and the military, or do you want to believe that this so-called task force was created little over a year ago by these individuals for any reason that you might speculate? Now remember, there have been issues with these individuals regarding at least 3 cases involving the CPS, quote unquote, advising the mothers of children who have either been removed or are going to be removed from their custody by CPS. The Cynthia Absug case is a primary example. The case of the woman that turned the round rather than go through with taking her two children, I don't know if they were twins or not, over to the east coast of the United States. And we have the case of the woman down in Arkansas who's going through a custody battle because of her involvement with these individuals. We also have Field McConnell under house arrest in the state of Florida for his part in this nonsense, where he made threats of violence against the mother of 3 and was asked to stop and decided he was not going to stop. And all of this centers Timothy Charles Holmseth. He's the catalyst. Now, Randy L. Erickson seems to have come out of this as the handler. So, you can go to her Facebook page, read all her theories, read all her accusations. You can go to the YouTube site where she wrote this letter and read the complete letter. And there's several other places on the internet where you can read the letter. Now this video is going to be embedded in my blog that I wrote about this situation. And I'm also going to put a link to the blog in the description of this video once it uploads to YouTube. Now I hope to not have to talk about these people again. I'm rather sick of the whole situation. These people are going to continue with these lies, and nothing seems to be in the cards for stopping them, except perhaps the ongoing investigations going on by state and federal law enforcement. Someday, somehow, maybe it will be these investigations that come to a just conclusion and these people will start being arrested and put in jail. Only time will tell. This is William K. Murtaugh, Mert Witness 1. Thank you for tuning in. Please like and subscribe, and have a good one.